Why do you come to me? Why do I deserve this generosity?
Now, this scene is very interesting because when Paramount Pictures saw the rushes of Marlon Brando, they were very, very upset. They thought that he was mumbling and that his acting wasn't good. And this was really the scene where it looked like I was going to get fired. You know, I don't even remember what it was that they didn't care for it, but I knew that it was a sort of a rallying call. It was in the middle of the week, and some of my friends said they're trying to get another director to replace you. Now, one thing about a movie company, and a little tip I'll give to all the directors out there, is they'll never fire you midweek. They'll never fire you on a Wednesday. They will always wait till the weekend to fire you, because in their minds they feel that there'll be able to be a transition and the new director will come on a Monday and there'll be no loss of time. So I suggested on the Wednesday, why can't I go and I'll reshoot the scene with Marlon if you don't like it. I mean, it was his first big scene, and you know, even though he is such a great man, he's nervous about playing the role, and maybe he didn't quite have the energy that he would have. Let me go shoot it again. And they said, no, that's all right. And I knew that was another sign that I was going to be fired, because I knew they didn't like it. And if they were telling me not to go up, we were just shooting downstairs. We could have just shot up there and done it again in like a day. That they must have planned, well, let the new director do it. So on that Wednesday, hearing the rumors that I was going to be fired, I myself fired 4 of who, in my opinion, were the traitors in my midst. It was sort of like The Godfather. I fired the assistant director. I fired a number of people as a preemptory strike on that Wednesday. And it threw Paramount and everybody in a total dither, because, you know, they were going to fire me that weekend. And here I had gone and fired 3-4 people, and I went right upstairs and I reshot the scene with Marlon Brando a second time. And the footage that you're seeing in the picture is the second shoot. I've often been very curious to go look at the footage from the first shoot and see if it was really all that bad. I think it probably was pretty good, and he was playing older, maybe more playing the age, because Marlon was not a very old man when he played this part, and we were very concerned to have him be able to be Jimmy Cahn's father and what have you. So I think what was confused for the age we were working for was confused by the executives as a lack of vitality, and they sent the rushes over to Charlie Bluthorn, who was the big boss, and he agreed. And it didn't hurt that around this time I won the Oscar for Patton, and I think I just squeaked by, and they didn't fire me that weekend, and the people who were agitating for me to be fired, I had fired. So I would say that I survived. This is about the 3rd week of The Godfather that all this happened and this scene was shot. It was much more mutually harmonious and respectful. But, you know, in the first film, I was like not really, the crew didn't kind of understand what I was doing there, why I was chosen to be the director. And I you know, the crew, you know, these kind of New York somewhat know-it-all guys made me feel like the jocks in college or something. So I felt very much like an outsider, and, you know, tended to take more the part of the actors and be more involved with the actors. And I remember once I was sitting in the bathroom of the stage where we were shooting, and I was, you know, hidden in the toilet, and 2 guys walked in, and I could hear them saying, "Wow, what do you think of this director? Boy, he doesn't know anything, you know, what an asshole he is," and stuff. And I felt so embarrassed, you know, I almost wanted to lift my shoes up so that they couldn't tell who it was that was in there, and they were talking about me. But I was very unhappy during The Godfather. I had been told by everyone that my ideas for it were so bad, and you know, and I didn't have a hell of a lot of confidence in myself. I was only about 30 years old or so, and you know, I was just hanging on by my wits and my I don't know what, but you know, I had no indication that this nightmare was going to turn into a successful film, much less a film that was to become a classic. So I always feel for young people working, is that to remember that those times when you feel that your ideas aren't good, or people are putting down your ideas, or you're getting fired, that those are the same ideas that you're going to be celebrated for 30 years later. So, you almost have to have courage.
You're going to be staring at your face, Mike. So walk out of the place real fast, but you don't run.
Now, in the book, The Godfather, the final coup, this strike that Michael has been planning, that in fact we understand even was planning with his father before his father died, which was to basically kill all of the heads of the 5 families in one stroke, was really, in the book, goes on in detail on how this is done. Now, the interesting thing with film is that you're very often required to figure out how to condense and distill and shorten everything, figure out a way that you can do what takes 30 pages in a book and do it in just a couple of pages. And so in planning the screenplay, I had this idea of unifying all of the strikes against these families by unifying it with the baptism ceremony. This is really an innovation of the film that's not in the book. Now the baby, we needed a baby for this scene, a new baby to be baptized, and I was blessed with the birth of my daughter Sophia right around this time. So this little baby being tortured by her bonnet is my little Sophia. So Sophia came into life as a baby in The Godfather, and further complicated that she was baptized as a boy. And so this sequence that we're seeing of the baptism is something that was really created out of practicality of how can we now, she's such a cute little kid, little face. How can we kind of tell what was all these various murders and make them in one climactic scene? And that was what the baptism did.
Ego te liniolia salutis in Christi Jesu Domini nostrum, rabias vitam aeternam. Amen. Credes in Spiritum Sanctum, Sanctam Ecclesiam Catholicam, Sanctorum Communionem Remissionem Peccatorum, carnis resurrectionem et vitam aeternam, credo. Exercise te mundi Spiritus in nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Urexias et recedes ab hoc fambum Dei Michaeli, isierim tibi imperet maledictit damnat. Effeta quores ad aperire, et donas suavitatis, tuatum effugar diabri aprum
pretty little baby.
Dei. Michael, do you believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth?
I do.